This pickleball match was an absolute barn burner. We're playing Erik Lange, who won a Major League Pickleball Championship with Ben Johns in 2023. His partner is Emilia Schmidt, who is the #1 Australian woman. Emilia has a crazy good forehand speed up off the bounce, and also Erik has some tricky stuff up his sleeve, which you'll see here in a moment. So just keep those two things in mind. You're going to be seeing a lot of the forehand speed ups off the bounce, a lot of those lobs, and that makes it a good time to bring up today's sponsor, Victory Insoles. They got me feeling springy there, and honestly, more importantly, they are so supportive for your feet that I feel like I could be out on the court all day long and be totally fine. These are definitely the premium quality to treat your feet right, so if you want 20% off, go to the link in the description of this video, and your feet will thank you endlessly. Back to the video, this is the first round of the main draw, but Allie and I have already battled through 3 rounds of qualifying to get here. Pro tournament qualifiers are often loaded with a ton of pros that have main draw wins, so it's always a good feeling to get those wins under your belt and finally get to the main draw. Emilia hits an ATP. We weren't 100% sure if it was going to go in or not, but given that the neck cord was helping the angle of that ball go super wide, I did not want to take any chances and just went for the defense. Obviously, it did not pay off. I won't do a replay after every point, but I just want to point out that Erik hits a wide serve that makes it a lot harder for me to get in position in time, and it produces a pop-up and Erik puts it away. And you may notice that some points will be skipped during this video. This was a 1 hour long match and it was a grind, so I'm not going to show you every single point, but I'm going to show you enough so that you see the trends and patterns and thoughts of what we're trying to adapt to. Like, for example, Emilia is hitting those forehand speed ups off the bounce. You've already seen 2 this game, so just keep tabs on that. In this point, I just want to highlight that we are the ones hitting the ball down. Emilia backs up just enough so that I can get the ball down to her. She's hitting up. I get the ball down again. She's hitting from below the net, hitting it up, which allows Allie to hit down. And a lot of people are bangers where they will hit any counter hard no matter what's happening. Emilia is actually really freaking good. Even though we won that point, she's really good at banging the ball super close to the net or at your body. And it makes it very difficult to deal with, and you have to be sure that you're getting the ball down and you're ready to continue the firefight. So keep an eye out for some of those hard counters. Another key theme in this match is going to be how big Erik plays. Obviously, he's a big guy, 6'4 plus, I mean maybe even taller, and he's a 6'6 duper player, so he's pretty good. So he's going to be trying to get huge into both sides of the court, and we're going to be trying to keep him honest going behind him, but also trying to keep it away from him. Aha! Proof that Emilia is human! I mean, her forehand speed ups definitely were way on the positive side, so she misses 1 or 2 here and there, still putting pressure on us. Similar to how Erik is putting pressure on us by serving big and hitting big drives, and crashing big. Those 3 things, super important skills, and Erik's got all 3. And you can see us trying to go behind Erik 2 points in a row, and we're going 0 for 2 on that. So he's doing a good job being crafty and just having fast hands, so it's pretty annoying, if I'm being honest. And there's another 2 forehand speed ups. I mean, Emilia was shredding me up with them, I will readily admit. I was taking too big of a swing. It literally needs to be so compact that there is no backswing. There, Erik hits a big serve, and yes, I should not miss that return, but it's difficult when Erik's been hitting big drives, kind of like that. They've been putting a lot of pressure while they're transitioning in. Fortunately, we fight off that game point, and we have another one here that we were able to save, getting a couple overheads, putting them away. And now it's our turn to serve and see if we can make a run happen. And the biggest thing that I've learned recently is that it doesn't matter what the score is, pickleball is a game of runs, so you should never give up. Momentum can change so quickly and so significantly, so always compete until the game point is won. There's a couple good points in a row where we countered the drives well and took some pressure off of us, so hopefully we can keep doing that. In the meantime, we see a rare Kevin Dong drive in the Florida heat. It's all set up by the serve. You can see that I pull Emilia out wide, so she's a little bit late. She's still moving when I hit the drive, and it makes her counter just a tiny bit harder than normal. Nice little reach in from Allie there, and our opponents opt to take a timeout. I mean, Allie and I really believed that she was going to be able to out-dink Emilia, or rather both of us would be able to. And literally, that forehand speed up is one of her only tools that we saw that would damage us. So the goal was really to keep Erik's serves and drives and crashes at bay, keep Emilia's forehand speed up at bay, and just dink all day long until we saw something we liked. Unfortunately, the other issue is that Erik loved inserting himself, and I mean, that is an incredible reach. I thought that this ball for sure, coming from below the net, was going to be flying long. I was proud of this dodge, only to look back and see it land in. And that shot kind of just killed our momentum. Obviously, it ended our run, and we ended up having a couple loose errors here. I probably don't need to take that ball, and it doesn't really set us up for success. But that officially ends the first game, and if you look at the stats, Erik and Emilia weren't transitioning in super well, but they got so many free points in transition. They earned 6 of their 12 points in game 1 from serves, drives, and crashes. In addition to that, Emilia was killing us with the forehand speed up. So hopefully in game 2, we can neutralize those drives and crashes and hopefully neutralize Emilia's forehand speed up. And that's the exact type of banging that you have to watch out for. When someone's really good at taking balls around net height or just below net height and still banging it through you or in the court, you have to be locked in and be ready to consistently hit the ball down so that it's harder for them to continue banging. Great job by Allie there, just taking so many dinks out of the air and progressively building more and more pressure. And that's our #1 most sought after pattern in the kitchen. And this serve here actually sets up another pattern we like, which is when our opponents can't unstack. This gives us an optimal pattern again, and I'm able to take this flick out of the air. In hindsight, I probably could have taken more risk with my serve to get into that pattern more often, but, you know, hindsight is 20/20, and it is, of course, a calculated risk. Speaking of calculated risk, this is a pretty crazy lunge from Erik. He reads where my shoulders are facing, he takes his ball from below the net, and Allie and I are both not anywhere to be seen because we didn't realize that was a possibility. And Emilia keeps tearing us up with that forehand off the bounce speed up, this time a little bit more through the middle. Allie tries to cover, but just misses by a few inches. Great job by Allie keeping that ball down. I actually popped that last one up a little bit, so we got a little lucky, but just shows like you really have to stay engaged in those hands battles. Try your best to keep the ball down. If you keep it down, people are hitting up, you're going to do better in the long run. And speaking of the long run, finally, I finally made the adjustment, made my forehand much more compact. I mean, the Pickleball Apes Pulse V has pretty good pop, so I don't need to add anything to it. I can just put it there and it will do all the work for me. Yeah, that one, I'll give it to Emilia. That was so good, just like Erik said. Like that was ridiculous. I mean, that's just also crazy. She's like 6 feet off the kitchen line.
Yeah, let's go. Come on.
Fortunately, we do get the stop though, and it's back to our serve here. A little bit of a net scramble. And I find a speed up. Emilia honestly almost has a great save, but Allie's there to finish the job. Which brings us to game point, and Erik here gives me a little challenge. I survive it, and we move on to the game 2 recap. We have a perfect 100% transition rate for both Kevin and Allie. That is bonkers. That is what it takes to beat a team like this. On top of that, we were much better at countering their speed ups off the bounce, and we also limited their driving and crashing points. So we ended up getting to the kitchen much more frequently and getting to our pattern of dinking with Emilia until we get a pop-up or she tries to speed it up. But here we go, on to game 3, the third and final game. 1 game to 11, switch sides at 6. What's going to happen here? It's going to be a dogfight to the end. Both teams really trying to squeak out the win. Started off with a nice little reach in the middle. And here, both guys just trying to hunt a little bit in the middle whenever they sense a change in the point. Hunting in the middle, but then we try and go behind Erik, and Erik's all over it. Erik already back to his big drives, so he gets me on one there. And there you have more of the same patterns that you're seeing through the first 2 games. Erik just getting big, we're trying to go behind him. Oh, but that one's new. Emilia tries to drop to the outside of the court, and I'm there with the Ernie. And, I mean, these points are going fast. Like, it's just big serve, big drive. Can we counter and get into the kitchen point? That is the biggest goal. Just get to the patterns we like. Trying to dink with Emilia, Erik gets in there and has a pretty nasty lob there right in the back corner. Fortunately, we're able to scrap it out to neutral, get back to the kitchen. Erik, right after getting a lob over our heads, gets another one just out of Allie's reach. So, I mean, the lobs are definitely something that I don't really have in my game, but it's definitely Erik's making me think I should probably start working on adding it. In general, Allie and I haven't been super aggressive in transition, but this one we had good positioning on, got in, and then fortunately kept the backswing very compact.
Wow, that's crazy. All right, great ball, come on.
you can already see a little bit of third game nerves coming through. I feel like a lot of those balls might have been not necessarily attackable, but we could have done more with them. And yeah, that point just seemed like a little tentative from all parties until the very end. But it's back to our serve, and we're trying to make a run. Slowed down a little bit by yet another Emilia Schmidt forehand speed up. And Emilia also earns the second point to get the serve back with a pretty nasty ATP. Ever since that first ATP that I hit that I thought maybe it was going out, it was in my head whether or not I should leave them or not. But there we finally countered that forehand speed up again, and we're rocking and rolling. They try to not stack there. It wasn't really because the serve was huge, no offense to Allie. So I'm not sure what they were thinking, but obviously, I mean, we're going to take that pattern any day. Nice little 360. Normally not a good thing when that happens during a point. Maybe a little impatient, but honestly a great spot. It was wide open and just overcooked it. So I don't hate the pull, just tough to miss it and then miss the next reset. But here we go, we're up 7-3. Trying to get one stop and get back to our run. Unfortunately, we also have to stop Erik's big serve and drive, and that's +1 for their scoreboard. We get 1 point, and now Emilia's serving, and again, Erik just moves forward and gets that drive down on me, and I'm not quite there. I'm still moving through that counter and dumping it in the net. And you might be seeing a pattern here. They're going on a run. I think we take a timeout there and try and get back to it. We finally survived the drive/crash, and Erik just hits a nasty ball. I mean, that's a tough angle, not gonna lie. Not every average height player can hit that, reach in that far to the kitchen and take that far across, but yeah, it's tough. Almost as tough as missing that overhead. So Allie and I are not doing ourselves any favors here, just making it tough for us to stop the run, and Erik gets big, and just more of the same pattern. You know, they're driving, crashing, Erik's taking up a lot of space, and it's difficult to stop the momentum even through the timeout. Try and go behind Erik, and he just bags Allie. So it's like you try and find a solution, and it's tough. Like, we had to stick to our pattern and trust it, but it's hard to get there when they're creating this much chaos. And that's the heartbreaker right there. I mean, just such a good match. I mean, honestly, great pickleball from all four players. But in game 3, Erik just started getting bigger, and you can see he initiated a lot more speed ups. He had a lot of points won in transition. And it was kind of the same story for the overall match at large. Like, Erik and Emilia earned so many more points in transition. So even though they didn't get to the kitchen as frequently as us, they earned way more points while transitioning in. On top of that, obviously, Emilia's speed up off the bounce really gave us trouble in the first half of the match, and Erik all match long was throwing in lobs, throwing in all sorts of tricky stuff. So too good for them, and hopefully we can bounce back from this and all learn a little bit and keep the journey going forward.